Special report tonight. It's a Ghar Wapsi that is yet to happen. They were forced to flee the valley 25 years ago this day. But the scars and wounds for Kashmiri Pandits are still fresh. While most Kashmiri Pandits claim they feel like refugees in their own country, they are now looking at Prime Minister Narendra Modi to fulfill his promised claim of restoring them to the land that they say was once rightfully theirs.
Hundreds killed, 500,000 forced into exile. Hundreds of temples desecrated, no SIT investigation, no commission of inquiry. 25 years later, no justice. This is the plight of Kashmiri Pandits in secular and democratic India. On the night intervening 19th and 20th of January 1990, the frenzy of separatists in Jammu and Kashmir was at its peak. "25 years later, Kashmiri Pandits recount that night of horror.
Forget about mental torture, fear, but the physicality of getting uprooted from your own home in your own country is very, very tragic.
You know, slogans were raised from mosque. Slogans like "Hum kya chahte hain azadi."
I guess Panni Pakistan but Auruste Batne Usan, which means we want Pakistan here without Kashmiri Pandit men but with their women.
Kashmiri Pandit organizations hold Yasin Malik and the JKLF responsible for the killings of their community members. JKLF's Farooq Ahmad Dar, alias Bitta Karate, is accused of killing more than 20 Kashmiri Pandits in cold blood. Bitta Karate even confessed to his crime in an interview to India Today's news track after his arrest in 1990.
अच्छा, आपने कितने लोगों की जानें ली?
मुझे याद नहीं कितने लोग जाने।
यानी आपने इतने सारे लोग मार डाले कि आपको ये भी नहीं याद कि आपने कितने लोग मार डाले?
10-12 हमारे होंगे।
10-12 की 20?
अब 20 ही लगा दीजिए, 20 ही मारे। पहला मर्डर मैंने सतीश को मारा था। सतीश कौन? सतीश कुमार टिक्कू।
कौन था ये?
मुझे ऊपर से मतलब ऑर्डर दिया गया कि उसको हिट करो, मैंने किया।
कौन था ये?
पंडित लड़का।
Most people, most members of this community still feel that over the period of time by successive governments, only lip service was done.
The Kashmiri Pandits say they want their rehabilitation in a separate homeland called Panun Kashmir. The Kashmiri Pandits believe that the present dispensation led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi can rehabilitate them with full honor and dignity. They said this has to happen either now or never. With Shujaul Haq and Bureau Inputs, Sunil Bhatt in Delhi for Headlines Today.
And two voices joining me to discuss this issue. What is the road ahead for the Kashmiri Pandits? How can they be brought back with safety and security to the valley? Shabnam Lone joining me from Srinagar, lawyer in the Supreme Court, and Rahul Pandita, author and journalist who's written a rather path-breaking book on the plight of the Kashmiri Pandit. Appreciate both of you joining us, and I want both of you to answer that question for me. What would it take, Shabnam Lone, to bring back the Kashmiri Pandit back to the valley? Today I heard Omar Abdullah tweeting saying this is the real Ghar Wapsi that should be done. But that's all very well to say in a tweet. Do you believe that the situation is ripe for the Kashmiri Pandit to return to the valley with full security?
Rajdeep, it's a very complex and difficult question. I would have said let the Ghar Wapsi begin. And let me say, ironically, this is not the correct word, Rajdeep. You and I should be using, because Ghar Wapsi in the country at that time is not being used for a great cause. Now, the position of the Kashmiri Pandits is very tragic. What happened 19-20 years ago on that very dark night, it was a dark intent when they had to leave their home and hearth. Now, it is not easy for us to say that we welcome you back. Those people who faced murder, mayhem, the destruction of their properties, the destruction of their lives, naturally they would want the government to give them self-sufficient things so that they would come back.
I'm asking you, ma'am, what is it that what do you believe can be done at the moment to ensure that they feel that a new chapter in their life is starting? We agree it's not easy, but 25 years have passed. 25 years is virtually 2 generations. What would it take for them to return?
Rajdeep, I think first of all, the most important thing is that there should be a project of harness between the two communities, because it is not only relief and rehabilitation in the form of money and homes that would actually settle this problem. What we need is that the sense of betrayal the Kashmiri Pandit feels, the sense of mistrust he has, the sense of acute pain and hurt that he has, that needs to be addressed first. Now the Kashmiri Pandits have to realize that like them, many Muslims in the valley went through the same emotions of pain, hurt, loss and anger.
Yes, but
what the two communities need to do is, we need to have some cohesive group where we can sit. We may have differences. We may have our own opinions.
You're talking, and I'll try and get Rahul Pandita, whose line has broken for the moment, to basically, what you're suggesting is some kind of interfaith dialogue, some kind of truth and reconciliation commission of the kind that we've seen, let's say, in a country like South Africa, where eventually people had to face the truth of the past. That would also require some sense of justice, some sense of feeling that the Kashmiri Pandit, that those who perpetrated the violence against Kashmiri Pandits are punished. So you would concede that it requires both the sides. It will require the Kashmiri Muslim also to reach out. It cannot be one-sided.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now with regard to this truth and reconciliation, I'll tell you one thing, Rajdeep. To some, the vastness of the ocean is calming, and to some, the vastness of the ocean is frightening. It's up to us, Kashmiri Pandits and Muslims. We can fight this menace together, rather than always being at each other's throats and accusing each other of betrayal and mistrust. Why don't we start on a clean slate? See, Rajdeep, I am a Kashmiri Muslim. I have suffered so much. My father was shot dead by militants in broad daylight. I am a Kashmiri daughter who has survived that tragedy. I don't want to be bitter, because every day I want to live a life where I can make the life of somebody better. That is the best form of going ahead.
I think those are fine words. Those are fine words. Will they work? Do you believe if a Kashmiri Pandit family today, which 25 years later decides to come back to the valley, will they be embraced by their neighbors? Or will there be the bitterness still there of the past? Hold on. Let me take that to Rahul Pandita. Rahul Pandita, I'm sorry that you're coming to us at the fag end of the program. I want to ask you that. What will it take for the Kashmiri Pandits to go back to the valley in your view? What will it take to achieve reconciliation of the kind that we are talking about today?
Well, Rajdeep, we Kashmiri Pandits are all for truth and reconciliation, but it cannot happen at the cost of our truth. For Kashmiri Pandits, the bigger betrayal is the fact that there's this extreme denial in Kashmir Valley about the circumstances that led to our exodus. That is number one. Number two is that we cannot return without getting a semblance of justice. In 1989-90, in those months, more than 700 Kashmiri Pandits were brutally done to death. In many cases, in extremely brutal fashion, but in connivance with their own neighbors, colleagues, etc. Not a single conviction has happened so far in
so
all.
So the first step is justice.
The first step is the admission of guilt in Kashmir Valley, that there was a chasm between Kashmiri Pandits and Muslims, majority community in Kashmir Valley, and that led to the exodus. Number one, it cannot, we cannot always blame it on conspiracy theories that Mr. Jagmohan.
I take your point. You're saying admission. So end the mood of denial. You're saying
Yeah.
end the mood of denial first.
Yeah, absolutely. End the mood of denial and then give us justice.
Okay.
Give us justice. There are, in many cases, there are convicted, there are terrorists like Bitta Karate, Farooq Ahmad Dar,
Right.
who have confessed on national television that they were responsible for the killing of 20 Kashmiri Pandits. Now the Bharatiya Janata Party is in power. Let us see what they will do, because this has been a part of their manifesto. Let them deliver this promise now.
I'm afraid today I wish I could spend more time, but I'm running out of time. Maybe we'll take this
Rajdeep,
further.
can I just make one point?
Yeah, 10 seconds, ma'am.
Rajdeep,
I just
can
have
please
10
make
seconds.
One point?
I have 10 seconds.
With regard to this justice, Rajdeep, I agree with Rahul Pandita. Now, may I say, all those police officers, all
Yes.
those intelligence bureau officers who let off these people, please take some action against them. We are with the Kashmiri people, those people who were indulging in murder and mayhem of the Kashmiri Pandits. Any Kashmiri Muslim
Okay.
who is involved in that, he should be punished and
I'm
brought
glad.
to justice.
I hope that firmness with which you're saying it and the plea that Rahul Pandita is making on this program can in some way become the first step towards some kind of a
I
truth
mean
and
it.
reconciliation commission of the kind, as I said, that South Africa had. That's what we need, both for Kashmiri Muslims.
And I say it on
both
behalf
for Kashmiri
of all
Muslims.
the good-meaning Kashmiri Muslims in the valley.
Sometimes we tend to forget that 99% of those who have died in violence in Kashmir are Kashmiri Muslims. So Kashmiri Muslims also need justice. Kashmiri Pandits also need justice. Justice has to become the starting point for truth and reconciliation. Rahul Pandita and Shabnam Lone, appreciate your joining us on the news today at 9. I'm afraid we've run completely out of time. I'm leaving you with